Do you want to mute it until we go live?
Have one of these yet?
No.
Love.
It's live right now.
Yes, Caitlin, she's right here. Yes. I was waiting to see where you were going to start. Good deal. On your knees before. Wow, that's impressive. I tell the ladies in class, it's okay to go on your knees. It's all right. I'd rather see you do that and have proper form than just moving this much. Go to your knees.
Hey, you got a new puppy?
I didn't get, Kelby's got one.
What'd she get? Or no?
It's just a mutt.
Oh, I thought it was white, isn't it?
No,
I see one behind your house this morning.
I have a white dog.
Oh, okay.
I've had it for a couple of years now.
It didn't look very big to me.
Well, it's not very big. It's just a little, got more hair than it.
Yeah, okay, 'cause
6 o'clock, we'll go ahead and get the committee meeting started. Start out, walks in at the right time.
Right at the right time.
Mayor Mills, fresh off his fishing trip.
Wow, the flight in was a rough one. So I'm ready, I'm on.
You're on. We're live.
Wow, I don't know if I was that ready. Want to start off, we at President Hilgenberg's request, I formed a door committee, and the door committee will be comprised of Roger Moore, Chad Johnson, Kaylee Andrews. I believe Garrison's gonna represent the sheriff's office. Jandy Adams will represent Clary Gardens, Mindy Brems with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Amy Crown with the Chamber of Commerce, Lanny Spalding will represent our town Coshocton, Mary Ellen Given will represent Roscoe Village, and Jeff Quarter will represent the city of Coshocton. So anyone that falls into, if you're in Roscoe, Mary Ellen Given will be your contact. If you're downtown, Lanny Spalding will be your contact. If you're in the chamber, contact Amy Crown. If you're in Convention and Visitors, contact Mindy Brems. Residents can reach out to those 3 council people. And at some point, we may have an open meeting with the committee. The first meeting will be June 1st at 5 p.m. here at City Hall. And it will be, I think the first meeting will be a closed meeting, and then let the committee decide how they want to handle it. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the community, from business, and just let's sit down and talk about it and make it our own and make it a positive thing. I know it's change. I know change is hard. It's painful. It's something that it's just a life process. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to figure it out. And I think the people represented should come up with pretty good rules and regulations. So looking forward to getting that done. Want to remind everyone, Art Mob will be at Heimball Park 11 a.m. this Saturday. And want to remind residents this is a positive thing for that neighborhood, that park, that area. It will brighten that park up. It will look awesome when it's done. I want to thank Ace Hardware's donated all the painting supplies and brooms, brushes, handles. Coshocton Lumber is selling us paint at a reduced price. I just want to thank those 2 local businesses. The American Legion Post 65 has donated $2,000 towards this project. With this project will also be installing glass backboards and new rims, not only at the Heimball Park, but at Hall Park. And want to remind the public, soon we will have at Hall Park and also at Heimball Park 24-hour video surveillance. I've just begun the process of reaching out how we're going to handle littering and vandalism complaints, and want to let the community know that we will have cameras on the cameras. So if someone wants to damage a camera, we'll have another camera. So my mantra a lot of days is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So I've handed out some stupid prizes and I probably won't be done. So if if people would know, I'll be stopping by the Heimball Park, Hall Park whenever I see people out, and just let I don't want to blame the youth, because I think there are some adults who also throw their trash wherever and vandalize things. So I'm not going to sit and blame the kids, but just want people to know that they will be on camera. So, and we will we are legally allowed to write citations off of video. So just want the public to know that, yeah, it'll be nice. And, there's probably people saying it'll just all be destroyed. Well, if it is, then we'll take care of it. So just wanted to let everyone know. So I think it'll look nice. I think it'll give that park a pop of color, and it'll set us apart from other places, and want to thank everyone involved with that project. I don't have anything further. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll answer any questions you have.
I just want to follow that up with, I know Mr. Moore and I appreciate you speaking at our graduation last Thursday. It's well done. Kids took it well, and
Yeah.
got a couple of your cliches. I actually laughed at a couple of those. So
I like how it was, a bunch of cliche things that I'm going to say, but I mean, I love that building, and it makes me emotional that my kids are almost done in that building. It really is. Wow. It's like, where does time go?
those years go fast, that's for sure.
I don't know how Roger doesn't have more gray hair with, him dealing with me, but.
Ever heard of
Clean
wash
living.
that gray right
I
under?
think that's
Clean
just
living.
for men.
I guess we won't go there.
It's called DNA.
Right.
So,
Do not ask.
It's enough out of
you have
you.
anything else? Mayor?
No, yes. Oh, Planning Zoning Commission, we had a hearing for Darrell Lee on Ridgewood Drive, and it was approved. So is there something that they need to pass on that?
We have to have a hearing in 30 days. I'll prepare an ordinance then.
Right, and then you'll see that. So the house is almost complete, and another thing we ask is check zoning, building, anything is good for our community, but it just needs to be done in the proper manner. So the house is beautiful, and hopefully we can get a couple hundred more built. So
Anything else?
no, I'm good. Thank you.
I know I sent like Mark and Jeff a picture that I saw on Fox 28 of Dublin's Dora. Pretty simple rules, no alcohol outside the door, which we've already talked about. And the one that struck me was alcohol not allowed on the Dublin Link, which is the bridge that connects the new Dublin restaurant bar area with historic downtown Dublin. Now, both of those areas are in the Dora, but you cannot drink while on the bridge connecting the two. So I don't know how, we can write that in there, but I
Well,
know-
what I've done is made that area small enough that they would have to pretty much walk across the rail.
okay.
So I reduced
So,
it down.
hey, if
Somebody will try.
you can make it, drink all you want.
But
and we want
probably
video.
Post the
Pretty
bridge
much
that way
post
that
signs,
you
though,
can't,
so,
you can't cross
I
with
would-
alcohol. But-
yeah.
And that by doing that, cut the amount of acreage down by a bunch. It was amazing.
Okay.
Drinks cannot be taken between locations. We've already talked about that. Discard cups before the next station. And I know when I heard the guy after you and Jeff were on the radio from Fremont, he said their biggest issue, he said he really had no issues, but the biggest one was where to put their recyclable bins. And he said everybody's done a good job with that. And then no bring your own booze allowed. So there's pretty much just common sense rules, and Dublin says they don't have any problem with it either. And I did receive one call this week from a gentleman who's been in town a long time, and he and his wife are both opposed to it due to, they feel that excessive drinking can cause more issues, but I told him it wasn't going to be Bourbon Street, and that we appreciated his input, so.
I have a question. The door, does this make 4 restaurants can go outside and like on the sidewalk
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sell beer?
Mhm.
Now they couldn't without the door, right?
Well, they
Or-
have to be by
They
liquor
could, but
license. They have to have
that
it
built into
marked
their
out.
liquor permit. They
Right.
have that,
Oh,
they have to
okay.
have that area approved. Where now
And
they
it
just
has to
have
be
do that.
fenced like Sorrells. You can
Right.
go out front and drink
Mhm.
only in that area,
Mhm.
only in the
Okay.
fenced off area. So that's,
Yeah, I think people need to know this kind of stuff. They need to, it's not, we're not the wild, wild west
Right.
and people are just up and down Main Street drinking beer. No.
that would never happen
Right.
here. Kaylee came up with an idea downstairs of maybe doing a Facebook page that way.
And put our contact information, I mean, or
Contact,
not
some
even
way
a
to
Facebook page, or even
communicate.
just
Right.
put it on City Hall's
Right, on
Facebook page
Facebook,
saying,
right.
if you have any more concerns, these are the people
Right.
that you should contact, not continually calling
Right.
the mayor's office.
And I think it's a good idea, but we need to keep in mind that
Not
probably
everybody uses
50% of our residents don't have, 50% or more don't have a Facebook account.
Mhm.
Right.
So we have to be able to reach them in other ways.
Well, I mean, yeah. So we probably need to bring the canal boat back too, right, Roger?
Well, I'm
Put it
just
in the
being
beacon.
real.
I mean, even if we put something in the beacon too.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Or, well,
WTNS.
I'll just get on talk show. Everyone listens to the talk show.
I had a phone call as well, but I believe it's from the same gentleman that called Roger, and they were opposed to it. I think that he kind of indicated they had a family member at one time that had a problem, and so they were really concerned about the alcohol consumption.
I told him I'd keep him up to date on where we are.
And most people don't fully understand
Right.
exactly what this is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't change much. They can sit on the front porch and drink beer right now and not have a door. So, if they go downtown, it's going to be more regulated down there than it is out in the neighborhoods.
Well, I think everybody knows that this is definitely a different thing for our community, so we have to, people are worried. And we have to listen to their problems because they wouldn't bring them up if they weren't important to them, so we have to listen with an open mind. I know me personally, I don't have a Facebook account, so I'm one of the 50%.
Me
So-
neither.
I don't either.
Pretty
So
don't care.
that doesn't mean I rode in on the canal boat either. Anything else? Safety Director, Max?
Well, I will add to the Heimball, we did repave the court as well and got rid of those ankle busting curbs. I'm surprised nobody's ever in a heat of a basketball game really tore something up there before.
I couldn't tell, did you get rid of the curbs or just pave up to them?
Got rid of them.
Wasn't the initial
They were
plan
actually
to,
just ice skate.
ice skate, that's
Years
what I
and years
thought.
ago.
Yeah, and they tried.
They were just pinned in on top of the asphalt, so it was a very easy removal and made a much better job. That court had several large cracks in it.
Mhm.
It would have not looked good with what they're wanting to do or what I think they're doing based on the pictures. So we spent a little bit of rec capital money on that. Yeah, Mayor talked about the new glass backboards. Anything we can do to promote basketball, I'm all for. So we're working on potholes, getting them patched as the materials available. We've had a little bit of issue with where they're doing the state highway out there on the 4-lane. They've been running a lot of the bottom coat, which is not great for patching. The rock size is too big. So anytime they say we're running top, we run over there and get a dump truck load of pothole material, so it's worked so much better. A lot of work went on from the last council meeting on 20th Street. I don't know if you're all aware, but after we began taking water to West Lafayette, we found out where our weak link was because we had to up the pressure a hair to get enough pressure up to Vance's and Woody's live up there, and I think Thornsley's. And just that extra 10 pounds of pressure caused 4 breaks in about 2 weeks on 20th Street. Same vintage line as we had on 14th Street a couple years ago when we replaced that. So we're going to actually, we got the Omega EPA to agree that we would put that on as part of the West Lafayette project. So we'll finance that over 30 years as part of the loan, and because it'll probably be around a $200,000 project by the time we run all the new water line and put the road back in, because I mean it's just destroyed that. They'll have a good road.
Yeah,
begin
one
with.
road to begin with.
There's, I should say city street, but so anyway, a lot of work went in on that. Let's see. They started the demo work today at West Lafayette, where they're taking out the big filters out of the water treatment plant, and we'll be capping those wells up there. So we're at the point of no return up there. So, but everything seems to be going pretty well. We did, there was, what, there 6 or 8 of us on a walkthrough last week on the hottest day last week with no water. So we walked all 13,000 feet of the new pipe that we put in, looking for any deficiencies, and looked at where they'd seeded and put sidewalks back and driveways back. And I think we wound up with 6 or 7 areas that they had left to do, which has been completed now. So we'll come back in the fall with Tucson and see if there's anything that didn't grow. I would ask people up there, know your grass at a reasonable length until that new grass gets a good start. Don't park where the new grass is planted, that kind of stuff. So, but overall, I thought that it looked good. There will be some, I got a call today. The gas company is going to be putting some new line in up there where Papa John's is. So all of you that drive up Cambridge Road, there'll probably be a couple days there where there'll be construction going on the street. So ask everybody to watch out for those guys. And I guess that's about all I have, unless you guys have questions.
Prairie Falls.
Prairie Falls. We've
made phone calls.
Okay.
We have another meeting.
Okay.
So
We'll be meeting with the Mr. Slagle's son, whose name is Scott. Scott. He actually works for Hilsher Clark. And I knew him after he got here. I knew who he was. We're going to meet with him and Harold and
discuss
the size of it. One of the things they didn't like when Harold done his drawing last year was, I think Harold kind of went with how people pull in and out of there. So you got a 26-foot roadway coming down, if you match it up with above the tracks, but then how it kind of wides out. I don't think they want to give up that much ground. So we may have to just pave like you would have a normal intersection there. So that's what we're going to meet up there and see if we can come to a resolution of how wide this thing's going to be there. So
yeah, I need to go back. Can I get some more time? I'll make it quick, I promise.
You're never quick.
I know.
I had a couple of things from Max before we get back to market.
Okay.
There's a small pothole across from the, on Cambridge Road across from the board office. It looks like it's been, well, it's not small anymore.
It's
I think
a water
it's
hole.
dug
it's a
up.
water hole. Those water holes, we have actually about 30 of them in town. We've contracted with the gentleman that's done some water hole repairs for us the last couple of years. Unfortunately, right about the time he was ready to start, he had a heart attack. So not a bad one, but he's just now getting back on ready to go. So in the 2 on Cambridge Road, there's that one. Then there's one down before you get to Spring Street. It's actually collapsed the road there, so we're gonna have to, what I call full depth repair, and we'll have to actually cut that lane out. You can feel the dip, even if you don't hit the pothole, you can see where we looped it. And
About Fifth and Walnut.
That's another one.
And
We
the
went
other-
out there the other day on Fifth and Walnut and actually smoothed it out. So better than it was, let's put it that way. Yeah,
Smoothed it out.
I'm not taking it
With
to the
regard
fair or
right.
anything, but at least maybe somebody going to Grace Church didn't break their suspension on it, so it was nasty.
And the other one I was asked about today, and I'm pretty sure my answer was correct, but I want to make sure the street between the Yucatan and the railroad tracks, is that owned by the railroad or is that ours?
It's not ours.
It's not even a street, right?
It's not, no.
It's, is that Dreher Avenue?
It's Dreher Avenue, but it's not,
It's
it's
not,
not ours.
it's
Who
not
owns
the
it?
right of way. It's,
I'm guessing it's on, I'm guessing part of it's probably on the railroad, and part of it's probably on the Yucatan.
Yeah.
Didn't the railroad put those cement
Yeah.
buildings up
yeah,
there?
at one
The
point.
railroad
they
tried
did.
to stop any parking over there.
I remember, that's why I assumed it was there. That's really bad through there, so I don't know what can be done, but
Well, I mean, what we've done in the past is if we're cleaning out a truck bed, like when we do the paving, if there's a little bit left someplace, they'll throw it in some of those
you need more
holes.
than
Need
a
a
little.
lot more than.
Yeah, I know, it's nasty, but it's not our property,
I
really.
know, I know.
Well, it's the same thing we're
Just
dealing
like
with
Ferry Falls.
Ferry
Falls.
Falls.
It's hard to,
Yeah.
it's hard to pave it, because once you pave it, then I gotta pave driveways, so.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
Right.
somehow assume control of that property.
And I need to talk to the railroad anyway about their property, so I'll talk to
Thanks.
them on,
That's all I
I'll
have.
talk.
Anybody have anything else for Max? You want,
Max, just to let you know, I drafted the opinion letter on the 20th Street to allow us to fall under the
Okay,
West Lafayette contract. You should get that tomorrow.
okay, excellent. That was requested by the EPA, just, we had to have our law director's opinion, so.
So I just needed more time, because I'd like to add these requests to the agenda. 1921, an ordinance to rescind the city of Coshocton codified ordinance, chapter 1111 amendments. So basically, when we passed and merged those boards together, we have two different sets of rules, which they all follow Ohio Revised Code, and then some of our local rules. Basically, we need to get rid of them so we don't have any rules fighting the other rules, right?
Those were actually lifted and put on the.
Right, they were right. These rules were put into the new zoning appeals and planning.
But we changed the price and changed a
Right.
couple things, but now they're.
Right, yeah, there's no, they were in conflict because we didn't get rid of them. Now they're, if we rescind these, they won't be in conflict.
Right.
It's basically the same rules, one board instead of two sets of rules for one board. 2321 is an ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. And I'm
That's
going,
just codifying the ordinances y'all all already passed. I don't understand why we have.
why we legally have to,
Except they do update state and a couple of other codes for us. But this is just getting everything online that you've passed for the last several months and updating the hardback book.
So this is something that, is it drain, who takes care of our,
Water drain.
water drain.
it's something they have sent us to update what we have.
They ask us to pass this ordinance every year.
Or.
For a
or how often it's
technicality.
codified.
Right.
I've never really understood the
Oh, good.
the
It's
reason
like
why it needs to be passed,
school
but
policies
it doesn't
and the
hurt
old
anything to pass it, and it allows them to clear up their books. then
Right.
so be it.
All right.
Right, it's a technicality for the formality. And then resolution 421, a resolution authorizing the formation of a partnership with Coshocton County to act as the official grantee for the 2021 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, also known as CHIP. And that's all I have. I just wanted to bring that up since Cherry brought that to me and I was unprepared. Thanks, Cherry.
Mark, since you've got the floor again, I got a question.
Okay.
What kind of feedback have we had about the 16th Chestnut intersection? Anything?
I've had one email that said we never posted signs before it, and I went up and I took pictures and I sent them out.
I know it is
and I
coming
said,
in.
Yeah, 17th and 15th have a sign that says traffic pattern change. And I went out, took pictures, and I said, these were up 30 days before the stop
Yeah,
signs
they
were
were.
even up,
So-
so.
Are we able to put the speed signs back up, like past Wayne's? Cause I got behind a car who stopped at the stop sign and then
just,
took off again.
100 mile
I
an
mean,
hour.
yeah, so I would like to know, like, if we can put that sign just
Yeah, we
right past, just
well,
to see if.
here's
if
what
it's-
here's what I've
doing
said, and
any-
I could probably create rage right now, but if people don't slow down, I'm gonna put a 4-way at 17th and a 4-way at 18th
18th, yeah.
and be done with it, so.
Yeah.
That's
It's
kind of where
crazy.
I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
come
like-
sit on my porch sometime, and
Yeah.
when people call and say they want a stop sign, I just tell them, yeah, it's a waste of metal. So,
You got stop signs all the way up your street.
yeah, and
Yeah, we
that,
do.
just because the stop signs are there doesn't mean
Oh, I know.
people are
Mhm.
stopping at the
Right.
stop sign.
Yeah.
So it just,
I would just like to see if it,
at some
if it's
point,
making a difference.
right. Right, it is, like, just driving up there, I mean, we drove through and, and I can say that we witnessed someone that just drove through it.
Right.
But it's not because the sign, it's
Right.
because
They're not-
driver inattention, right?
Mhm.
So, it's,
They drove through it and they almost come to a stop after they were through
They
it.
I actually-
realized, oh,
I
yeah.
flipped the yellow light bar on. So
Yeah.
it was almost a pullover, yeah. I mean, you have to have fun, right?
Those
Barney
signs are on Buena Vista
Okay.
Barney.
this week.
Yeah.
And I
They
think
going to
Evergreen
Pleasant Valley,
Park.
yeah, and they're
Okay,
going to
that's fine. I
Pleasant
just thought it
Valley, I
might be
think.
something
We're kind of hitting that.
Interesting
Just,
to
no, let's
see.
see what,
People's been very good about calling in and saying, hey, can I have those signs on
Yeah.
my street for a week?
right,
Yeah.
so we'll have all the
You gotta
information.
manage it, though.
It's just a matter of using the information, so
Is the CHIP a new program or is that something council deals with every
it's
year?
every year.
Every year.
And they
That's for
do,
your low income.
right, they'll
like
work,
Water heaters.
yeah, they'll do,
Insulation.
yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Law Director? Mr. Selby?
It's the first time I've seen most of you for about a year, so nice to see you all. Just a few updates. We continue to work on collections for the water and tax office. I'd say in the last 6 months, we've collected over $40,000 in delinquent water and taxes. For the most part, I would congratulate both those departments. Their delinquencies are extremely low compared to most cities, and they're easy to work with, and they give me all the information I need to do my job, and they make it easy. I seem to get calls every day from either Max, the mayor, or Jeff, adding new projects to my list. Recently, Jeff's been forwarding complaints about the trash cans staying out at the road, so I sent a couple warning letters, and it seemed to have done the job. And for the most part, when I send out my letters, it seems to correct whatever problem there is. When it doesn't, then we take the charges and we deal with it. Hopefully, however, most of these problems can be resolved before it gets to me. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Hey, Bob, I need to, at some time, I'd like council, driving around today, we were looking at properties overgrown and trash everywhere. And Jeff has said every year he's dealt with 50%, would you say, or the same
Probably,
exact people?
We deal with a lot of them,
That's
large percentage of them every year.
So
Week
my
after
whole,
week after week.
we were talking today, if it's, let's smile and give them a warning, and then the next year, let's figure out, I'm not against doing $100 a day. A fine, I know that in the perfect world, people go to court and pay that fine, or they'd actually get issued that fine, but we don't live in the perfect world. Is there anything that you think we can do to just wake some people up so we don't constantly have to deal with the same people? And council, I think, needs to look at, let's come up with a way that, like, we can get rid of the babysitters club and actually do something and get their attention. So that's kind of something that I think we need, and anything you can recommend on your end, the council, is something we need to do.
Always increasing penalties works a little. I would guess, however, that a lot of the properties you're dealing with, you can't speak to the person in charge.
Right.
It's either a bank that hasn't foreclosed, somebody that's in a nursing home, somebody that's dead and the kids haven't probated the properties. Those are the issues, not just our issues. It's an issue confronting every city in America. If you could tell me how to fix that problem by getting our legislature to do something, that would be great. But I don't think you're gonna get that done.
There was a federal court ruling in Florida in the very recent past. City charged $500 a day for a property that wasn't mowed. It was 29,000 some odd cents that was owed, and the guy refused to pay it. The city foreclosed. The federal court upheld that the city could foreclose on that property.
So we can always increase the fees to allow that to go on the tax duplicate. And when the property is sold, we get some of our money back. The problem is, usually the properties we're talking about are rundown properties that are not habitable. So you're talking about selling properties at tax foreclosure for maybe $1.
Mhm.
So what do we get back?
You got your quarter.
And the land bank.
Right, we got our 50 cents, you know?
No, and that's what, I just hate it because it sometimes feel like we can't do enough. But then I think it's the process of making people understand that we try, but we're trying with the same people. Right now, if a house is sitting empty right now in Coshocton, I would say it probably shouldn't be sitting empty with the housing thing going
I
on.
agree.
Now is the best time
We've
to,
seen several decent properties today that are sitting empty, which amazed me. That there's, you know, if they're in estates or something like that, that somebody wouldn't be trying to sell them.
If there is a property that we find the owner or the person in charge, generally either Jeff or I can get that property taken care of. And usually they'll comply for a while, maybe till the next season. It's the properties that I talk about that's the problems. And those are ones that we just have to deal with ourselves and put on the tax duplicate and let it go through the process. But, you know, for instance, the guy up in Roscoe that we had all the complaints about last year. Eventually, I filed the charges, problem was resolved. And in whenever Jeff has somebody that he's actually confined and he can't get them to deal with, we take charges right away and we try to get the problem resolved right away. And 99% of the time we do.
That one in Roscoe, how's it look this year?
And any complaint, I've not had time to get up there.
I go get there. Okay.
I think that he is just quit complaining while the neighbor's mowing it, and I think he just not saying anything to the neighbor.
I was gonna say, I think the tumbling's still up there, I
Yeah,
don't
they
think
live
so.
there and they mow it, and Cartwright was going for a while, but he's back now.
Oh, is he back?
Okay, we need to move on. Sherry needs about 15 minutes, so.
I can make it quick.
So.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, it's that time of year again where we need to start a budget process. So I have here for you, we're required to give the past 2 years actual. So you have, the first 2 pages are strictly the general fund. So some of you have been on council before. This is just going to be a little refresher new for the new ones. So I'll just quickly go over it. The top section is general fund revenue. Property tax, trailer tax, municipal income, the JED, lodging. Those are all with local taxes. So you'll have the 19 actual, 20 actual estimated is right now, if you jump down to total general fund revenue, the 4,349,023, that is exactly where the general fund budget is setting with the budget commission, the county budget commission. That's where it's setting at. So back up, intergovernmental revenues, local government that comes in from the city and the state. You know, at one time back in the day, that was about $450,000 until the state cut that. The state has now reinstituted some of it. It's only about $4,000 a month. Cigarette tax, liquor permits, property tax allocation, that is money that comes from the state for the homestead and rollback. State grants, it's usually always $2,104. That's for health, state subsidy. Other is, you'll see an increase from 19, it was 6,700 up to 49,058. That's money that we take in typically from the high school for field maintenance and football and softball field maintenance. But in 20, we have the health department is receiving grant money from the county health department. So that's the increase in revenue there. 22, I took it back down because the contracts for the revenue was only supposed to come in through 21. Charges for services, that's cemetery, municipal court, state patrol, and the health vital stats. That remains pretty steady across there. Fines, license, permits, that's anything. Could be some municipal court fines, but license permits, that's collected in the mayor and service director's office. Miscellaneous and franchise, that is our interest income and franchise fee. I just wanted to point out in 2019, you'll see 493,000 because the interest income was 204,000. And we all know what's happened to the interest now. In 2000, our interest income was down to 40,000. And right now we're only setting out about 1,500 that we've received because we all know what the interest rates have just, you know, plummeted to pretty much nothing. Other sources, that is revenue that we take a percentage for, it's not a percentage, it's based off of council, the mayor, service law director, auditor, 4 month salaries, and I think it's BWC and PRS, that we take 110,000 from the water fund, 110 from sewage. There's the municipal court 2/5 reimbursement that comes from the county, and admin from solid waste. And it's important to note on 2020, you'll see the other sources were $662,000 compared to 2019, 213. And that's because we received, due to the pandemic, $445,000 from BWC. So they had money to give. Expenses going down, security of person and property, the personnel services, that's our fire department. That's the portion that the general fund supports our fire with. Contractual services, that's the portion that the general fund supports the sheriff contract with. Supplies and material under security and persons, that's our traffic lighting, 85,000. Public health, that is our health department and cemetery combined. There's the costs have gone up primarily because of our health department, you know, our home health agency closed in May of 19. So they supported about 110,000. So that went away. So their expenses went up there. So if you flip to page 2, leisure time activity, that's our recreation department. Community environment, civil service, or not civil service, excuse me, sealers, weights and measure, that we contract with the county for that. There could be any fogging material for mosquitoes. In the supplies and materials of that has increased over the years because that's where we've been adding the additional for property maintenance. If there's trees around town that they're gonna take down, that's where that's included there. General government takes care of everybody else, mayor, service director, council, municipal court, the auditor's office, treasurer, law director, income tax. So you see where that's at. Other uses are income tax refunds and the income tax rebate. And you know that tax rebate goes to Craft and Riverview. That was a 10-year deal. We have 5 tax years left to pay. So that ends in 2025, and we'll make the final disbursement to them in 2026. And that's usually right around $200,000. They each get about $100,000 each. So if you look at your total general fund expenditures for 2021, $5,399,999, that is exactly where the appropriations are setting right now. So if you do the math down below, we started the year with $1,163,243. You have your estimated revenue of $4,349,000 for 21. If in the real world that we would spend every penny of those that's appropriated, you'll see that we'll be looking to end this year with $112,000 in our general fund. I highly doubt that will happen because I can't see us spending that full 399, but I think I like to show you exactly where the appropriations are setting right now. So like worst case scenario. Last year, we didn't spend, I think it was right around $250,000 of the appropriations. So like it just says at the top, it's an estimate. But then going forward with 22, our revenue stays pretty much the same. Our general fund revenue, very little fluctuation in it. So if we're at the 4.2 where we're typically at, and if I take those appropriations down, maybe a little bit more realistic to 4.7, we'd still be in it where we could potentially look at a deficit in 22.
And that's the problem is our tax collection and our tax base is stagnant.
Our tax base, yeah, so I was telling you earlier, our tax base is a little stagnant right there. But our revenue, I mean, it's overall our revenue, but mostly it's our expenses are going up, like in everybody's world. Your expenses just keep going up. But this is truly an estimate. I'll watch how things come in, see how the May revenue comes in, see how the June revenue comes in, and maybe I can feel like I can adjust that for 22. And, for 21, I'll adjust it. I mean, I think last year I adjusted the budget probably 10 or 11 times throughout the whole year. Page 3, fire pension. In the property tax, there's inside millage. I think it's 0.3 mils or 0.2 mils that is required by law to go to the fire pension fund. So this money comes in when our property tax settlements come in. We usually use it to pay portion of the employer's share of fire pension. So it's usually, you can see there, in 2020, it was 57,000. This year it's estimated 56, year before 55. So that will come in and go right back out. Page 4, these are all our special revenue. The exhibit 3 is all the special revenue funds. And that kind of, if you look at your cash statement, you'll see it kind of goes just right down with your cash statement too. So we have to project what we think our ending balance is going to be for the year, what our estimated income will be, what we estimate our expenses, what we think our balance might be at 12/31. They're all pretty self-explanatory. Did I say that explanatory? Yeah. That sounded funny in my head. So they're all, you can figure out what they are. Food sanitation, that is money that comes in for food license throughout. And I usually always try to use every bit of it, might leave a little bit left over, but that goes towards to Joe's salary, the sanitarian. There's still $185,000 sitting in the home health fund, which at some point this year, I'm gonna seek the legal guidance, and I'm pretty sure what I need to do, since I cannot find the ordinance when the home health fund was originally established 10 years ago. I think, and Bob, I'm gonna have you help me with this, but I think I have to petition the Common Pleas Court to get that money released, and then it would go into our general fund.
Didn't we research that last year?
I think we did, but we wanted to give it 2 full years for that money to set in there to make sure there's nothing coming through. And since it closed in May of 19, here we are, May of 21. I feel we can, start the process. 7.5 state route. When our gasoline tax comes in, 7.5% of it must go in the 7.5 state route fund. And that money can be used towards any street that is a state route, like 541 in the city, or a feeder street to a state route. I did add, second from the bottom, the new American Rescue Plan Fund. I'm hearing it's going to come half in 1 year, half in another. So we're estimated to 2 million. So I threw $1 million in there and said we're going to spend every bit of it. Street debt, 60,000. Capital improvement, just an estimate of what we think we might spend. Another area that's going to kind of be concerning to me is down to our enterprise funds. Our enterprise funds are supposed to be money makers. Water, you probably noticed on our cash statement, the water fund is depleting. Even with the estimated revenue from West Lafayette, I think that's estimated at 400. I think they bring in about 480 a year now, which we might be a little bit less since our rates are a little lower. The utilities director submitted his estimated expenditures at $3,377,000. And you can see if we start the year with 800,000, where I think we'll probably be really close to that. You can see in 2022, we'll be looking at a really small balance there in the water fund. But you have to keep in mind our water rates haven't increased. Last increase was 2017. So, your revenue's staying the same amount of customers, but our expenses just keep going up, with insurance and wages and material. I said in the bid opening, all the chemicals and all those, are still going up, but our revenue's staying the same. Water contingency by Ohio Revised Code, 5% of the water revenue has to go into the contingency fund. And that contingency can be used for debt or capital improvement. And that is, and you'll see, and then the next one, the water debt reduction. I think that is set to fall, that note matures, I think, in 2025. And I think I have estimated maybe in early 24, don't hold me to this because I don't have my notes in front of me, that we should be able to stop that fee on the water bills. And I can report on that more later because we have a balance in there and it's going to keep adding. We are just not permitted by OWDA to make extra principal payments, and we're not permitted to pay it off early. Sewage fund, sewage contingency is the same way. The 5% must go into there. And then we have the solid waste fund. That is the trash collection money that goes in there and that we retain. Internal services, our insurance escrow fund. Right now, one thing going back to the general fund that's going to, and with all the funds too, with expenses is a big part is last year, we only had to pull 11 escrows, 11 payments from all the funds to go into this insurance escrow fund because we have been building up some cash. We had real good claim year, but this year we've taken one every month. And right now through April, our claims are up a little over $70,000. So I don't know how it'll hold for the rest of the year. So that's going to play a big part on how we finish. And then we have a few fiduciary funds here at fire pension. Again, I'm just required to report it down below there also. State patrol, that's where money comes in and out from state patrol tickets that are issued. Portion of it goes to general fund, portion goes to the state patrol fund. That state patrol funding money goes directly to the Coshocton County Law Library. Bid bond insurance for chemical bids. If there's a fire, the money, insurance company's money comes in, Tusk, and you got the JEDs. So that's just, I'm trying, you need to stop for your big hearing. I don't.
Probably should.
Okay. Well, take a look at the rest of it. That just breaks down our loans and then it just summarizes all on the back. Okay. And just call me if you have any questions. If you want to come in and sit down and go over it more in detail, just let me know. I tried to speak.
Before we open this up to a public, for the public input on DORA, just, on behalf of all the committees, I know Mayor Mills and I spoke. I think that, and we both feel the same way, that there's probably some updates and things that need to be done to some of our ordinances or whatever. So our committees are here to review and update legislature and stuff. And if we as committees and they as chair people have those heads up, then we're prepared for phone calls and any issues that may come up. We're here to help and try to bridge that gap between yourself and the community and through the wards. So the ones that appear, like last week, just happened to appear, gets people, our members, our community in an uproar if we're able to hear that beforehand. Because in theory, if we have a committee meeting tonight, then those ordinances or whatever should be on in 2 weeks, unless there's an emergency. And I totally get those things. I totally get them. So I think if that's one thing that we can improve on, we need to do. So thanks. That's one thing I wanted to say. And with that, I think we need to open this up for Dora, correct? Okay.
I haven't received any emails. I did email council the support letter from the Chamber of Commerce. I personally have fielded no calls on the door. So I think if Sherry would like to go ahead and finish talking about the budget, you can, as long as I can jump in if we get any.
Yeah, if we get any, sure. You want to continue on?
I'm,
Might as well take advantage of the
yeah, I
time.
mean, unless anybody has any questions, back to page 6, we just estimate what we think we're gonna spend in capital improvement. City Hall, we always say about 75, street paving, out of capital improvement. Those are out of the 401 capital improvement fund. And then we have the street paving, the street levy fund, and then the fire capital improvement. Then here's just we have our bond. There's the bond for the county water, when we purchased the lines, the sewer lines. And then our other few little notes loans that we have. We had a couple sewage with OPWC, and I did pay those off in January. They had such small balances, and there's a couple smaller water ones that I think I'll probably just go ahead and, knock off there. But if I go with what's right on the amortization schedules, that's it. So page 7 just gives you an estimated resources. It just simply takes what you think your balance is going to be at the beginning of the year, add property taxes, other sources, and it shows you then we have an estimated whole other city budget then we're operating a revenue of 29 million. Our other sources, our revenue is estimated coming in is the 19,541 and the 455. The last 2 pages just recaps it in a different way for them. It's all the same information. It just has to recap that way. But if you have any questions, I can try to answer.
Sharon, this is more of like a midterm update on finances, and then you present the overall budget, or is our fiscal year run?
No, we're calendar year.
Okay.
So how it works is we have to submit our budget by July 20th. We will then do our appropriations in the fall. Then January 1, I have to prepare what is called a certificate of estimated resources, and that's the official. And then that's where I'll fill in where we actually finished 21, and then what I think we're going to take in and what our expenses are going to be. And that then prepares our official budget from the county that comes kind of like in this whole format. And that's where I have to be very careful then to make sure when I file this amended certificate that our appropriations cannot exceed these amounts. If so, I come back to you and say, we need to reduce appropriations, and we've done that before in the past. Or, I've had a mistake on some, and sometimes I can go, okay, I think our revenue is going to be a little bit more, and just fix it. But that's where we're going to have to really watch. I've said to Max a couple times, so far the past couple weeks, I'm like, we'll get to the nitty gritty, in October when we come to do our appropriations. That's where we're going to have to be, we'll have to be really careful. You should never appropriate your beginning balance. And last year we did. We have pretty much everything appropriated and can be spent. I mean, I don't think we'll get up to that 539.
Yeah.
I hope we don't.
So is it a conservative budget? I mean, with a deficit for 2022, how concerned do we need to be?
Well, I am concerned about it, but I tend to, it's really tricky. I tend to estimate high,
That's what I would-
the expenses, and then my revenue low.
Right.
But with the general fund, it's so consistent. I mean, pretty darn consistent.
Okay.
Last year, had we not received that 445,000, we would have been just 4 million in revenue because of the loss of the interest income, that we, have with the bank,
My
We're sitting
concern
there.
is, with the water is we haven't had a rate increase since 17. And as Sherry said, all of our expenses are going up rapidly. So we've paid for a rate study with an organization called RCAP, the Appalachian deal. And they've made recommendations, which I'll be bringing to council in the near future to see what you guys want to do. We just can't continue to flatline.
How long do we still have on the, aren't we charging people like an extra $10 or something?
Well, yeah, and that's that water debt reduction.
But see, now once
But-
that falls off, we're really gonna be sore, aren't we?
No, because that goes into
Okay,
a total
that's just paying for
separate
a
fund.
bill, right? Okay,
That's in a separate fund.
okay.
Sherry,
So,
To be clear, with the ordinance committee, Sherry is asking for an ordinance to be on the next agenda. That will be the first reading of.
yes,
The next agenda.
and we have to have the public hearing for it too, Cherry.
Yes.
We will have to have a public
That'll
hearing for the
also be
reading of
on
it.
the
Yeah,
agenda,
yeah.
yes.
Max, wasn't, and Chad, I don't know if you remember this or not, but wasn't part of our discussion with the West Lafayette meetings that we wouldn't increase?
We will not increase theirs unless ours increase here.
Alright.
But we didn't say that we wouldn't increase ours and not increase theirs.
Right.
And as you look, I mean,
But probably with an increase, it still would be below what they would have been paying. had they
yes,
maintained their water
yes,
system.
yes. Yeah, they'll still come out to the good on that part of it, but some of our chemical costs was a lot higher than what we're used to paying.
If I can jump back real
Of course, we have a contract year this year as well, so, wages will probably go up.
Just to jump back real quick on the other sources for 2021, I did utilize an old ordinance for solid waste administration fees, and I have pulled that out 109 and put that in general fund. And I've taken sewer so far. However, I have not pulled the 110 water just because I'm concerned about their balance. But if I don't do that, that's going to be 110 less than our general fund. So I'm just going to ride that one out a little bit for the rest of the year to see how the general fund comes in.
Okay.
So
Hopefully we collect 6 million in income tax. and live happily
we
ever
do.
after.
Right.
it's,
Thanks, Sherry.
I gotta head in, 6:58.
I'm gonna win $1 million Wednesday.
Me too. No, they've already told my name today.
That's all I got
They
to
picked the
say.
names today, Chad. You just find out Wednesday.
Okay.
That's all right, because they're calling me.
They're verifying my name right now.
Really,
I'll be the first one at your door for your local tax.
you come on over, come on over.
Yeah, you only get about half of it anyway.
That's all right, that's all I need.
I know, I'll
That's
take
all
it.
I need.
I wouldn't argue with it at all.
So you guys can see how council changes was. I just have a Surface Pro on a shelf.
Oh, okay.
It's muted in there now. And that's how it's gonna look, and it will, with the mic system in there, you can hear, we use that tablet. You never know when what you need to fix first. I love it. It's very interesting.
Well, actually, yeah, oh, absolutely. And like time of life right now, I need you that. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go. Yep, thank you.
Hi, Jeff. How are you? All right, I think I'm gonna leave this one.
She's gonna want one.
Should be. Should be. Why can't we see us? I don't know. Question.
I guess we can if we hit the button.
Speaker view.
Good evening. Today is Monday, May 24th, 2021. It is 7:01.
That was muted.
This is a regular scheduled Coshocton City Council meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Andrews asked to be excused. Barcroft.
Here.
Gross.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Mishler.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Need a motion. Please stand for the pledge. Mr. Barcroft will lead the pledge, and Mike Gross will do the publication.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you again for this opportunity, Lord. We pray that you would just be with us tonight and say and do, and we commit this to you in your name. Amen. Okay, we're at the minutes. Council, you should have received an email with the minutes from the May 10th, 2021 meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Motion by Roger Moore, second. Second by Tom Barcroft. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
All in favor, I was not here.
Public input, clerk, do we have any public input? Public input? Does anybody here want to address council?
First off, I'd like to welcome Mr. Hildenberg to the council.
Thank you.
Richard Gates, I reside at 821 South Lawn. Weather's getting nicer, and I'm noticing that taxi cabs are frequently flying up and down South Lawn, blowing stop signs, not doing the speed limit. I've called the sheriff's office, requested extra patrol, no success on anything there. So I just wanted to make the city council aware of that. And I think we need to pursue something with these people that's out walking their dogs, that's just leaving them walk beside them. No leashes or nothing. They let their dogs do their business wherever, don't clean up after them. And it's ridiculous when you gotta step through it or over it to mow grass.
Sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are the dogs just going in your yard or are they going in other people's?
Everybody's down through there.
So if you're mowing everyone's grass, will you come up to my house?
The price is right.
Okay.
Where are we on the private taxi cab registering with the city? We passed the ordinance to see that they register.
We have no Uber. As far as taxi cab registrations, everyone's valid. Everyone's insurance is good. It's Cherry's the taxi cab, the department, and she does well. And you know, I got a complaint the other day about taxi cabs on South Lawn with being a residential neighborhood. I don't know if the people who bought the cab service live on South Lawn now or.
Yes, they do.
So Jeff actually has looked into that. So
Letter was sent telling them they could not have that business in a residential.
you can't operate a business in a residential neighborhood. So hopefully you see some change.
That's the corner of Boulder and South Lawn?
Yes.
Thanks, Mr. Gates. Appreciate it. Okay, we have some requests for additions to the agenda. 19-21. An ordinance to rescind the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance Chapter 1111 amendments. Ordinance 23-21, an ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton, declaring an emergency. We also have a resolution, 4-21, a resolution authorizing the formation of a partnership with Coshocton County to act as the official grantee 2021 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, also known as CHIP. So I need a motion to add these 3 items to the agenda. So move. Tom Barkoff, make a motion. Some Chad, second.
Horcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, reports of any standing committees, other standing committee reports. Okay. Mayor's report, Mayor Mills.
I don't really have nothing additional other than what I went over in committee. I want to say happy Memorial Day to everyone and congratulations to all the graduates, not only in our city, but in our county. Redskins will always be #1. So there's no argument with that. Just want to remind people, Art Mob Project at the Heimball Park, even if you don't want to paint, come out. I know Ross is trying to find me a dunk tank. I'll be in a dunk tank at Windsorwood. Windsorwood. Yeah, maybe you can get a room, Roger.
Already have one.
Right. I'll be at Windsorwood the 28th at 1 p.m. if anyone wants to dunk me in the tank. It's actually my 44th birthday, so I said, what a better way to spend my birthday than have Bob Spittler dunk me in a dunk tank. So I'm looking forward to that. Just
We give Bob a basketball for his.
right. Bob's going to get a basketball for his toss. Excited about the door committee and talking our way through that and getting some good regulations. But I mean, there's things going on. Public Works is working it hard and doing some drainage. I was down on South 4th Street today, talking road issues, just trying to get things fixed and do it as effectively and efficiently as possible. But definitely, I'm glad people are complaining about mowing grass instead of shoveling snow. So I'm looking forward to summer.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Safety Director's report, Max?
Nothing in addition, Tom, besides, I would like to thank our town, Tom Barcroft's group, and many other groups are involved in cleanup on Main Street and the painting of the fire hydrants. It looked really good. Appreciate everybody's efforts on that.
Thank you. I appreciate the city giving us the paint impressions.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Really helps, appreciate it.
We had volunteers that really wanted to do that quite a while. They were anxious to get started.
One thing over last week and this week is, that 2 weeks ago, we had 7 days of rain. So our cemeteries kind of got ahead of us. We got a lot of people down there at South Lawn and the other 3 cemeteries trying to get them looking nice by Memorial Day. So if I'll just be patient, I think we'll have them in decent shape for the Memorial Day weekend. But 1 week's time, they really grew fast and we just couldn't get in the boat. So we're working on that.
I did see Tom and Terry Lau painting the fire hydrants, and it looked like Tom was doing the majority of the work. Appreciate Terry helping out.
Terry was super.
Terry was telling them how to do it. That's what was going on.
Yeah, I did see them both getting after it downtown, and it really looked nice when they got all this painted. So I want to thank them also.
That's all I have.
Any other questions or comments? Law Director, Bob?
The only thing I'd have is inform Mr. Gates that Ohio's law with respect to pets is that they're either to be leashed or they're to be under reasonable control. Whether or not these people can walk with their pet beside them and those are considered under reasonable control is for a judge or jury to decide. Certainly it's possible, but usually dogs should be leased. I would invite you to either contact the dog warden or the sheriff's department, but remind you also, they have a lot more serious things to deal with than these dogs. Sometimes it's better just to talk to your neighbor and see if you can get the problem rectified that way. I have nothing else.
Questions? Auditor's report, Sherry?
I don't have any reports for you tonight. We went over the budget in the committee meeting, so just if you have any questions in the meantime, just, get a hold of me, email me, stop in, call me. Good to be back.
Sheriff's report,
Sheriff
Crawford?
Thank you. I have nothing to add other than what I've already emailed you, but I will say it is really great to be back in council chambers. Love it.
I've seen some these little dirt bikes, mini bikes.
Yep.
I've seen 4 or 5 of them down on between 7th and 8th the last couple days. And
Been
yeah,
on
we need to we need to try to curb that. And
The guys are looking for them.
okay, all right.
Chad, I talked to
We got a
Kaylee.
picture of one of them.
Right.
Well, I know one
It was
Sean
going.
Gandy, and I've seen, and so
Right.
I've seen some people that
I talked to Kaylee too about kids on the little rechargeable, like Vespa's little scooter, 24 volt. And there were kids that deputies stopped, and it all kind of came about in our neighborhood with the mini bike and someone riding with a 2-year-old on a mini bike. Well, then it went to, I was parking my boat, and a girl that was small was riding on one of those little mini Vespas down Spring Street. And I was like, that's dangerous. So then Monday when I got to work, I talked to a resident who was concerned about smaller children riding those rechargeable, you know, they're on Cambridge or on Prospect, they're on 14th. I was talking to Kaylee, I'm like, I want kids to enjoy being kids, but I also want to remind the public that I'd rather have sheriff's deputies going to the parents' house with to tell them that the kids are alive and they shouldn't be doing that than the sheriff's department going to the house and knocking on the door when a driver who is not paying attention runs over their kid. So that's, I don't know what like I told Kaylee, and while you're here, so if Kaylee walks with her kid and her kid is on that, what, I mean, is that acceptable if the parent has eyes on them, or?
Consider it supervised.
Okay, right,
Yeah.
so that's kind of where I'm at.
Right.
Because the complaint becomes they are not paying attention to traffic laws, and when they blow a stop sign and
I think the little rechargeable things are all right, but I'm seeing the little mini bikes. the
Right,
little
no,
gas
we
powered.
see, right, we
Yeah.
see those too, so,
Okay.
but the rechargeables though, my whole thing is with parental supervision,
Oh, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have a problem, but if they're just running on Cambridge Road, that's the last thing that I want to see, and that's what I want people to understand. We're not trying to make it to where kids don't have fun. We're trying to make it to where kids are safe and they're not ran over. So, and that's what I explained to Kaylee. What was kind of a multitude of things that happened that I called Sheriff Crawford and said, hey, here's what's going on in my neighborhood. And then, so it's not, we're not trying to be mean, we're trying to keep people safe. So, and I'm sure the sheriff's office and the residents can work together to figure out how to do it with common sense where the kids are safe. And that's what I want to happen. I don't want to just say like, get on your PlayStation or keep staring at your phone.
Yeah.
So.
Sheriff, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The report that you sent, that's each shift, that's the number of deputies that are on duty at
Correct.
that time, and then the swing shift, that's the extra
Yes,
people that load up on
Yes.
on the swing shift.
yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sheriff,
Yes, sir.
with the vast number of UTVs on the street now, great plan, great law. Are you catching any of them that aren't licensed?
Haven't yet that I'm aware of.
Okay, I know I've seen many more on Cambridge than I ever saw before.
As summer approaches, we'll see more.
I saw a whole,
Will we have 50 roughly permitted?
86 licenses.
86 now.
And if you see something that you don't see at Coshocton tag, if you get a picture of the plate, we
Oh,
can
yeah.
take care of that. And
I don't get close enough.
We tell the UTV owners that come here, help us police this. That way no one takes advantage of it and then it all works forever. So if you ever see one parked anywhere, take a picture of the plate if you don't see the Ohio, the Coshocton tag.
That black and gold sticker, the black and gold sticker will say 21 dash and then whatever the 3-digit number is, it's on the back left side of the buggy somewhere, maybe on the back window or back where they have a flat place that it can be visibly seen, but the deputies all know, look at the back left side of the vehicle and it's there somewhere on the back left side.
On a related question, for you, I saw something really low to the ground that appeared to be homemade. Front and back lights going down Cambridge. Does that sound like it would qualify as a UTV?
Was it
There's a rail buggy running around town and it's licensed as a motor vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Rail buggies are just basically.
Okay.
As long as it's got plates on.
I couldn't tell. Went back to the.
Yeah, we'll see.
Which is another issue.
Rail buggies as summer approaches too.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments of the sheriff? Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
property code investigator report. Jeff?
Just an update, we've got about 11 streets that have been adopted. That's about 88 blocks of streets that have been adopted by people that are gonna work to keep them litter free. As I said, we've licensed or registered about 86 UTVs as of today. And as the mayor spoke, and I've got to bring him up to date late this evening, Lone Star did get the cameras online at Einball lot. I don't have connection that I can watch them here yet, but they are online right now and recording. So Einball lot is under supervision and is being watched even as we speak.
And the residents will see more and more video, and we will. I talked to JD about trying to link our system at the sheriff's department. So what better way to feel safe and be safe than to be on a camera and be in the dispatch center, and we're moving more in that direction. So
I have a question for you, Jeff.
Okay.
If like different groups are adopting the streets, I know the Opportunity School's they adopted the Cambridge Road area hill.
Okay.
Is there any way that you could recognize the people that adopt those? Like
Well, we
a
are,
sign or
and-
anything that we can?
And nobody from the Opportunity School has contacted me about what they want to do. But what we're doing is if you say they want to start at Pleasant Valley Drive and go to Sarah Drive or go to Overlook or wherever, they let me know. We order signs that are put up and say this street adopted by, and then the organization name to keep it litter free. And it's a nice green sign. You'll see it posted. And
Just like they post on the highway?
Exactly. And,
Okay.
and we're paying for those. They're $57 for a pair of those signs. And I think for what we're getting, that's what money well spent.
I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll probably stop that at Overlook and not go to Sarah.
Well, I would appreciate you went to Sarah, but okay. I can take my blower and blow it back there.
I just want to give Jeff and Bob, thanks for the 8th Street cleanup. Thank you.
All right, I took care, I called the
I drove
project.
by before I came today, and it looked like it was cleaned up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. There's nothing else. We'll go into legislation. Legislation for the first reading. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 19-21.
An ordinance to rescind the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance Chapter 1111 amendments.
You've heard the first reading of ordinance 19-21. Are there any questions or discussion? Motion to suspend?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second reading.
I'll second that.
I'll ask the clerk. Call the roll. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Second reading, clerk, will you please give the second reading?
An ordinance to rescind the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance Chapter 1111 amendments.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give the third reading.
Second.
Second, Glenn.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Okay, I'll ask the clerk, please give the third reading of the ordinance 19-21.
An ordinance to rescind the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance Chapter 1111 amendments.
The ordinance, yeah, the third reading has been heard. The question is, shall the ordinance pass?
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Legislation at the first reading, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 21-21.
An ordinance to establish a new Fund 114 named American Rescue Plan Fund.
You've heard the reading of ordinance 2021.
If I can, I was originally gonna say this could take its course But last week I was able to get online and go through the application process that we accept the funding. So just on the off chance, if the money would happen to come in before the end of the month, I would need the fund to place it in. So if you could go ahead and suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
I'll make a motion.
Or
Suspend the
pass it
rules and
emergency.
Chad,
Give
make
it
a
a
motion.
second reading.
Second. Tom, second.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 21-21.
An ordinance to establish a new Fund 114 named American Rescue Plan Fund.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give 2021 a third reading.
Second.
Okay, I'll ask the clerk to give the third reading of, clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the third reading, ordinance 21-21.
An ordinance to establish a new Fund 114 named American Rescue Plan Fund.
For the third reading of ordinance 21-21, the question is, shall the ordinance 21-21 pass?
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Next, I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 22-21.
Appropriations.
You've heard the,
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give the second reading.
Chad, second, Tom, second.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 22-21.
Appropriations.
Motion to suspend.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
Second.
Glenn, second.
Barcroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the third reading of ordinance 22-21.
Appropriations.
Appropriation, you've heard the third reading of ordinance 22-21. Question is ordinance 22-21 pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Legislation, again, the first reading. I'll ask the clerk to give the first reading of ordinance 23-21.
An ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton and declaring an emergency.
Heard the first reading of ordinance 23-21. Are there any questions, discussions?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a second reading.
I'll second that.
Chad. Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 23-21.
An ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
For the second reading of ordinance 23-21, have a motion to suspend.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and give it a third reading.
I'll ask, clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to give the third reading of ordinance 23-21.
An ordinance approving the addition and inclusion of certain ordinances as parts of the various component codes of the codified ordinances of Coshocton, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
For the third reading of ordinance 23-21. And the question is, should ordinance 23-21 pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Legislation, second reading. We'll ask the clerk to give the second reading of ordinance 18-21.
An ordinance to amend the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance Chapter 1117 R1 One Family Residence District.
Heard the second reading of ordinance 18-21. Questions or discussions? The ordinance will run its course. Clerk, please call the roll. Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, you don't have to, I'm sorry. Okay, legislation at the third reading. I'll ask the clerk to give the third reading of ordinance 16-21.
An ordinance to amend the City of Coshocton Codified Ordinance 376 Utility Task Vehicles UTV.
For the third reading of ordinance 16-21, question is, shall this ordinance pass? Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
21 is adopted. There's a resolution 4-21. Clerk, please give the reading for resolution 4-21.
A resolution authorizing the formation of a partnership with Coshocton County to act as the official grantee for the fiscal year 2021 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program. CHIP.
Question is, should resolution 4-21 be adopted? Clerk, please call the roll.
Barcroft.
Yes.
Gross.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Mishler.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
Any old business? New business?
I'd like to publicly thank Mark Mills, the mayor, for speaking at the Coshocton Opportunity School commencement last Thursday. I'm sure kids appreciated it, so the staff, so thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Communications? Oh, I'm sorry.
Just, I would like to wish Roger and his lovely bride Carol a happy 46th anniversary today.
Happy anniversary.
I forgot all about it.
I think we should congratulate her.
I know.
That's what I was thinking, how to do it.
Right.
Today.
Communications? Anything from council? Clerk?
Yeah, I have two from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. LP Ohio 101 at 101 South 2nd Street. I guess it's a new one. Under type, it's just got an N. It doesn't say renewal anywhere. So would council like to have a hearing? 101 South 2nd?
No, that would be the old Dick's Corner, I don't know what, is that Valero now? Yeah. 101 will be that Valero station. I don't think so.
Okay, and then we have a transfer to Connie Gallagher, doing business as Cheers Grill and Bar, for the old Army Navy. From the Army Navy Union Garrison, 628, Tom Unger and Jan Everhart. Okay, I'll let you know.
Clerk, when is the date and time of our next meeting?
It's with my calendar.
You're not at home anymore.
Right? It's usually right there. June 14th, 7 o'clock, committee at 6 p.m.
The public hearing.
Yeah, public hearing.
For the budget.
6:45.
Motion for meeting to be adjourned. So moved. Chad?
I'll second that.
Roger, second that. Just gotta hurry up and get home. Clerk, please call the roll.
Corecroft,
Yes.
Gross,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Mishler,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
You have to